The Father asked me to grab the camera and urgently record this message just to explain to you what apocalypse means. Now, for most, the word apocalypse means destruction and calamity. Now, apocalypse doesn't mean necessarily those calamities, but the cause of those calamities. And what is the cause of those calamities? But the revealing, which is what apocalypse means. It means the revealing. So how can destructive forces take over and wipe things out without there being a cause? That cause being the revelation of who runs this world. That the enemy is very real, and his systems and his beast systems are established into the very fabric of how you live. More importantly, the reason why I speak of the Scriptures so much is because the Scriptures have been utilized to entrap you and to provide a matrix of guilt and fear. Everything is accomplished through guilt and fear. And so you begin feeling guilt for things that you shouldn't be guilty for. The mere fact that a young couple in love living together is made to feel guilty and that they're going to hell because they haven't complied with the church is just how serious the enemy is about having his way and having his command over how you do things. Your sovereignty within the Father is extraordinary, and you have neglected to understand that sovereignty. Because the sovereignty that he has established in you is his sovereignty. It isn't a government's. It isn't a nationality. All of these divisive measures have been established by the enemy to keep you divided, to keep truths separated. That one religion has such a profound truth within it that it can be established as a religion, and that the enemy would draw a line to make you fight that religion and call them evil. If you call one religion evil that has an established truth that is so profound that it is one of the secrets that you need to establish within yourself true salvation, how will you ever find it if you won't actually read their texts because of your stingy heart and your closed ears and your closed eyes, because the enemy has blinded you to truth? That someone has established in you truth that is so false that you get nervous and that you redirect yourself and you won't listen to another truth. You won't listen to any other words. You won't read someone else's book because why would you? Think about how crazy that is and understand how demented your mind has become and how foolish your false standing in your doctrine truly is, and how weak it truly is, that you would be fearful that words from another one might influence it. That it is made of such thin substance that you have to be weary about hearing some other words and it impacting the truth that you think you know. If what you know is true, there isn't anything that can alter it, because truth is unalterable. You cannot change it. Only lies need a constant propping up. Only lies need a constant defense. And that constant defense is established in you when you refuse to read. Someone asked me if I've ever read the Satanic Bible, and I said, yes, I have. It's called the Bible because it's made by Baal, by Baal. But it is also the words of God, because the Father isn't scared of putting the truth next to the enemy, because the truth stands on its own and it forces the enemy to establish systems of lies to continuously prop up his lies, which becomes an expose of where we're at today. What is happening in the words that I'm speaking to you and the things that I'm revealing is just a portion of this. And there is no question that the Father has shown me that I'm going to be really revealing much more than I am right now. I'm only speaking to you from a scriptural standpoint and the religions, because they're the foundations of the deception that you've already fallen for. You've already fallen for these deceptions. The deception was much long ago. It took place many, many ages ago. The enemy is a strategist, and he is incredibly patient. And you removed his power, as I've said, and relegated him to a little red man with a pointed tail and a pitchfork. And this is a very dangerous thought, because his deception was so deeply ingrained in mankind that the Father sent the Christ in Jesus. Why? Because the deception was already established. If it hadn't been, what would have been the purpose for him to come? So understand this as I continue to reveal these things, because I'm going to be revealing what's taken place in the cosmos. I'm going to be revealing what exactly and who is involved in what's taking place in the skies behind me. Because everyone has names in this world, and those names for those that are involved in this are meaningful to them. My name in this world doesn't mean anything to me, but theirs does, because they're still entrapped in interpretations and perceptions and reputation. I could care less about my reputation, because my reputation in this world is pointless. My reputation as to who I am in the Father is the only thing that matters. And so it is with that I do whatever he asks, because I'm here specifically for that reason. And you are here for a reason as well. What is that reason? That's what you seek. What is your reason? Why? Why are you here? Because it certainly isn't to put money in your bank account and leave it to your kids so that they can leave that to their kids and just carry on this miserable existence that continuously and will aggressively spawn more wars and more fear and more guilt and more murder and more blood, because the enemy must have this blood. So much so that when you die, they drain it. He loves your blood. The blood of mankind is what he feeds on. You are the sheep, and he is the snake devouring them. I pray that you hear these words and that you allow them to resonate in your soul, and that it opens up your eyes and you begin to look at everything. Pay attention to your neighbor locking up things that is just irrelevant to them, but yet they're so fearful that somebody will take their things. Especially in circumstances where those things are irrelevant. They're meaningless. Watch the fear, watch the operations of the fear, and watch how they protect the systems that they now trust in, because the fearful need the governmental systems. The fearful must have them, because those government systems have proven to them by design that you really need them when you really don't. Those governmental systems are worthless. They don't do anything for you. They'll take away your food and then feed you and ask you to thank them for it. That's how it works. So when you read the scriptures and you read the words of Yeshua, know that he is addressing the very times and the very details of the economic times, the very details of the socioeconomic systems, the very details of the lepers that were being cast out of the church and cast out of society because they were undesirable. And how he was walking in and cleansing the lepers because they weren't really lepers. They were manipulated law victims, where they had taken the law of Moses and manipulated it in their way to call someone leper because they were undesirable. They didn't need them. And so when Yeshua said, "You're clean," and sent them back into the temple, this was a really bad thing. I'm telling you, the undesirables of the world, that you are desirable to the Father. And the undesirables of the world are the ones that are calling you undesirable. For all things are reversed in this time. For good is seen as bad, bad is seen as good. The inverse is true, because the enemy is the inverse of the Father. He takes everything he has and corrupts it. He takes everything the Father has made and corrupts it. And this is precisely why the Father says, if man exalts it, I despise it. So that means if man despises it, God exalts it, because the reverse is always true as well. This is a binary world we live in, and in every statement is truth, and in every statement is the lie. And in revealing these things causes an apocalypse. Just as Yeshua said, do you see these things, these stones, this entire temple, all of it, all of these things? There will not be one stone not thrown down, because the revelation of the things that he was speaking of was the revealing that we are experiencing today. That's why there is a book called The Revelation of Jesus Christ. Because his revelation and the revealing that he was speaking of then is only coming to fruition today. You are living in these times, and you are blessed to be a part of it. You are incredibly blessed to be here. In fact, you're chosen to be here. You're not here by accident. So I ask you to dig deep. Surrender all of this world to the Father. Hold out your hands and say, I've got nothing, Father. I believe in nothing. I see nothing. I am nothing until you reveal it to me. That's what it takes. Once that takes place, he will show you his law in such a profound way that you will begin to be like Christ, as I've spoken of, that when you assume that office, the office will assume you and it will consume you. Now, consume means to use up. So that becomes your word. Father, consume me. Use me up. Use all of me. That's why I'm here today. I asked him to consume me, and he does, every second of every day. I love you. I'll have a podcast tonight. For a couple hours, I'll be discussing the gathering in Arizona. Join me for that. Call in, ask questions. It'll be a lively discussion, I'm sure. I love you very much, and I'll see you very soon.